welcome back to my channel, Alex in the Sunlight. I'm Alex and I'm so happy to see you. I know it's been a minute. I know it's been a while, but I also know you're not here for that. So if any of you are interested in knowing why I've been gone for so long, you can leave a comment and maybe I'll make a video if enough people ask me. But the purpose of today's video is to find out what you can expect to happen or what messages you can expect to receive during this upcoming Mercury retrograde. Okay, we've got 3 piles here. Group 1, malachite. Group 2, lapis lazuli. And group 3, labradorite. If you have already chosen your pile, that's totally fine, but if you could just humor me and close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through the nose, filling the chest and the belly with air. And as you exhale, ask your spirit guides, your angels, or your higher self to aid you in choosing the correct pile for you so that when you open your eyes, the one you are drawn to first is the right one. Okay, let's get started. Hi, group number 1, those of you who chose malachite. Okay. So it looks like you're going to be going on a bit of a journey during Mercury retrograde, and it makes a lot of sense to me. I feel like, a lot of us just came out of some really intense energy and everything the past year, the past 10 years. And so, right, and then I feel like the energy kind of lifted and then it almost started like coming back down. And I feel like Mercury retrograde is going to kind of show a lot of us where we still might be uncomfortable or might be holding on to things. And in your case, it looks like I feel like it's actually going to be a really positive time. It's just going to be about knowing when to say when for you guys, and also realizing when you're doing the most. Because the first card you've got is the 4 of Wands in reverse. So that already sets the tone for all of this. A lot of what you're going to be experiencing is going to be at home and with your relationships. Could be family, could be romantic relationships. I get the feeling that it's going to be everything, like, just your loved ones in general, and your home life and your, like, how that coincides with your career is going to be, I think, in the spotlight. But in reverse, I'm feeling like, because it could be either, you could look at it as like the reverse of what the 4 of Wands is upright, which is stability. So you could look at it as like, oh, that means insecurity. But I'm kind of more or less thinking like, okay, you've come to a certain place where it's like you've achieved something or you've gotten to a place that you wanted to get to, but it's not all the way there yet. So it's almost like, a resting stop, or you've definitely crossed one finish line, but there is still quite a ways to go. So you could be kind of like celebrating your achievements, but in your own kind of way, because you haven't quite made it, but you have made something, if that makes sense. Like, you have gotten somewhere, even if it's not like at the end of your road. And I also feel like it's kind of like this energy of, I still have so much further to go. Like, I feel like you guys are in a place where it's like you had that feeling of like the weight lifted off your shoulders a bit, but now like Mercury retrograde is here to like to maybe not to remind you, but for some reason the energy will remind you that like you're not quite there yet, whatever it is. Right? So you're going to kind of feel like, well, I still have some stuff to do. And it being in reverse is like, it's also making me feel like you're going to be like, wow, I really worked hard to get to this point, and now I'm thinking about all of the stuff that I'm going to have to do after this. And it's almost like, don't let yourself get burnt out before you've even really begun, You've got the 9 of Pentacles next, so that lets me know like, yeah, you've achieved a lot. You have the opportunity, and you probably will think this right after this. I feel like you're going to be thinking like, oh, what am I even tripping on? Like, I'm so blessed. I'm so abundant. There's so much here to be grateful for. Like, I can take my time. I don't have to rush to the next thing. And realizing that like a lot of wishes have come true for you. And then the next card is the Seven of Pentacles in reverse again. So I feel like then you're going to be like, oh, but and thinking like about, okay, now that I have this money, or now that I have this time, or now that I have this stuff, I should do something with it. I should point it in some direction. I should invest it in something. And this in reverse lets me know like you might get in over your head a little bit and might start like thinking like and doing the most. Like, it's not going to be a focused energy because Mercury retrograde is a time of reflection. So whenever we start thinking that we got to go or we got to like hit the ground running, it's letting us know there's something off balance, right? But I also feel like this energy is this journey that you're going on is necessary too. This little bit of confusion and like kind of like going up and down with your thoughts and things and your actions, because it's leading you to this Six of Pentacles, which to me is kind of like, if you look at the imagery, there's like this snow, but it's going to melt because of the sun shining on it. And that's kind of how I feel, is like, yeah, you got in a little bit of a like, whoa, like I'm not sure what to do. And you might be arguing with some people, miscommunication, because it is Mercury retrograde. And if that does happen, I really advise you to not engage. Do not engage. Right now is not the time to be arguing. If you have a discrepancy, or if you have anything that is bothering you that somebody did to you or things like that, only bring it up and only engage in it if you know that you can come from a calm and loving place. Now is not the time to try and start fights, because you're probably going to say things you don't mean. Okay, so just dial that back. But I feel like all of that is going to lead you to this place where you are reminded of like what it's all for. And even though you do have this ultimate goal that you're not there yet, this is going to remind you what that really means, what it is for in the first place, which isn't accolades, it's not recognition, it's not so you can just be rich just to be rich. It's because you ultimately want harmony in your life. You ultimately want peace in your life, and you ultimately want to be able to give. You want to have so much that you can always give. And so that's kind of like what this up and down journey is about during your Mercury retrograde. It's like coming out the other side and realizing and remembering like that it's so much bigger than you, and it's much bigger than the small stuff or the petty stuff. Like, you really want to create a joyful and peaceful life, and you deserve it. The advice that you got is relationship and enjoyment. And the relationship card just reminds me of this Four of Wands in reverse. So like I said, you might have some spats with people. You might be wondering like, oh, what is this even? Like, you might feel dissatisfied with your home life, or, you might feel like your relationship is on the rocks. Before I even read this, the thing that I'm feeling for some of you is that some of you just need to stop and ask yourself, and I'm not trying to downplay, if there's actual issues going on in your relationship, then this isn't for you. But what I mean is like, for those of you who know that you really love and care about somebody, romantic or otherwise, you really love and care about somebody, they really love and care about you. Ask yourself, are you hungry? Are you hungry right now, or are you really upset? Do you need a nap? Are you tired? Is the energy in the air really just like too heavy for you, and now you're kind of lashing out? Like, pause before you go into fight mode, okay? But the card says, I call in the infinite power of love to take over this union in every way. May it now fully belong to the divine. Let it unfold in the perfect way for each of us. I needn't fear letting go of control. My needs are always met. That's very straightforward. So really remember that during Mercury retrograde. Like, I don't have to control everything. I don't have to hold on too tight. Ultimately, you want all parties involved to be happy, right? You're not just focused on your own peace. So remember that. Like, is this good for them? Is this good for me? If not, we proceed accordingly, right? And the next card is enjoyment, which I really feel like goes really well with this relationship card too, because like sometimes you need to ask yourself, like, are we really pissed at each other, or are we just like irritated because we haven't had fun in a while? Have we been working too hard? Have we been thinking too much? Have we been so hard on ourselves and trying to be perfectionists that now we can't even enjoy each other's time? Think about it first, okay? Because you never know, and Mercury retrograde can get a little foggy, and it's like that fog is so we can see after, but like during is not the time to be making rash decisions and like, looking at people that you love like, I don't know about you. Like, it's like, you know, hold on a second, But the enjoyment card says, striving and pushing makes life into endless hard work. The more you're inviting love to take over, the more enjoyment comes. Allow me to enjoy this life, dear Lord. Yeah, you need to enjoy yourself. This Nine of Pentacles is in here for no reason, right? The Six of Pentacles is in here for no reason. So get out of your head a little bit. So just understand that like whatever lessons come up in Mercury retrograde, it's trying to get you to come to this place of enjoyment and where you remember why it is that you want what you want in the first place, which is to be happy. Okay? So if you're stressed out and you're working too hard and you're doing the most, it's probably a sign that you should stop. All right, but that's all I've got for you guys, group number one. I think it's going to be good. I think you just got to get out of your head a little and, make sure that you're resting and taking time to play, and you'll be fine. I really hope the reading resonated with you. Comment down below if it did. Like this video, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy with me. I truly appreciate it. The magic in me honors the magic in you. Be well. Bye. Hi, group number two, those of you who chose lapis lazuli. Okay, so just like group number one, you are going on a journey during Mercury retrograde, and this is like one that you've got to do on your own. And that doesn't mean that you like don't talk to anybody, you completely cut everyone out of your life. It's just more so like, don't ask everybody for their opinion. Don't tell everybody about your ideas. Don't go like running for the hills like, hey, like this is the new thing that I'm super into, because I feel like you guys are going to get disappointed if you don't get the reaction that you want. And so let me get into it. Okay. So the first card you've got is the Page of Wands. So I know it's like you've got this bubbling energy in you, like there's this creative energy going and you feel called to do something or you feel called to learn something. There's like an enthusiasm you have, there's an excitement, excuse me, and it's probably going to be either right now, like right at the start of Mercury retrograde, or this has been like what you've been feeling throughout February or throughout the new year. And so Mercury retrograde is coming in to like kind of really get you to set your sails and like have a clear direction, because right now the energy is like I said, it's bubbling up and it's like it's light and it's really beautiful. Like it's like this imagery is very golden, like dawn of a new day type of stuff. And you're very enthusiastic, but all that enthusiasm doesn't necessarily mean you have the know-how just yet. You're kind of like, it's almost like if you've seen like little animals when they try to take their first steps and they're like fumbling over each other, like in Bambi, or like little birds, they're jumping out of the nests when they don't always know if they can really fly. And that's kind of like how I'm feeling about you guys. So then Mercury retrograde is going to take you on this journey where it's like you're realizing why it is that you don't have all of the tools just yet, because you've got the Empress in reversed here. So that's letting me know that like the first thing you're going to realize is that you put too much of your energy into other people's dreams, into other people's projects, into other people's lives in general. And that can mean so many things. That can mean literally you help people brainstorm for their own lives and not your own. And that could also mean that you like gossip a little too much, or you're worried too much about what other people got going on when you really just need to be focused on yourself. That could mean that like you really care so much what your friends and family think about you, and so you always take the time to like call on them and like, see what they think and what they have to say about, what you want to do, but that is creatively blocking you. Like you've put so much stock in everyone else that like you don't really have enough for you. And what you've got to realize is like the only person who can really truly see your vision is you. And it's really lucky when you can find other people who can kind of see it, and they can kind of see the outline of where you're trying to take them. And like when it comes into fruition, it's really nice when you have those people who were like, I believed in you from the start. But if you don't have that, that's also okay, because the only person that you really need to bring something into fruition is you. And the universe sends the right people in to help you along the way. But you don't have to um, try and like lean on your friends and family for that kind of validation, because I feel like, everybody is going through this Mercury retrograde, not just you. So I know you guys are coming from like a very like pure place. I feel like a lot of you guys are fire signs. So like, you have a lot of energy, and I feel like you guys can um in a really nice way like seek attention. And so like I get it, you just want people to like be excited for you and all of these things, but like mm, you have to remember that people are in their own worlds, in their own heads, living their own lives. So they're not always going to show you the same amount of enthusiasm for what you've got going on, because sometimes they really don't care. And I know that sounds harsh, but I don't mean it in a way that they don't care about you. I mean it like, okay, if I'm also going through Mercury retrograde and it looks completely different from yours, my journey is completely different from yours, and I'm thinking about it and I'm ruminating and I'm like all in my head, and then you come to me and you're just like, I've got this great idea to do this thing and it's got nothing to do with me, and I was in my own head and you just pulled me out of my reverie, and now you think I'm supposed to be like, oh awesome, like that may not happen this next couple of weeks. So don't take it personally. The best thing that you could do is just to wait, because there will be people who, when they're out of their own stuff, are like, oh okay, yeah, tell me more about that, but right now is probably not the time. And what you don't even realize you're doing is you're giving them your energy, because what you should have been doing is like saying to yourself, wow self, this is a great idea. And like I said, the universe will send you the right kind of people to be around who are also like in that way of thinking. But if you're just like going to everybody that you know and you're like wanting that validation or wanting the same kind of enthusiasm back, it just may not happen, and you're draining yourself that way. And no, it doesn't seem that way, but you are, because you're like asking them to feed you instead of feeding yourself basically. And after you've realized that and you're like, you know what, okay, I'm going to take a step back, like I'm going to keep some things to myself, and they will just see, my family, my friends, the people I love, they will just see after the fact, and I know they'll be happy for me then. um then you're moving on to the Ace of Wands in reverse. So that's kind of letting you know like, okay, I've got the creativity, I've got the enthusiasm, but I'm still blocked. I need direction, I need tools, I need knowledge, I need know-how. I feel I feel like I'm being blocked, but it's not that you're being blocked. It feels like a delay, but it's like anything would feel like a delay if you don't have all of your stuff in order, right? If you were trying to go to the airport, but you forgot to get a ride, like you forgot to set that up first, it's going to take you longer to get to the airport now, isn't it? Or if you get to the airport and you forgot your passport at home, right? It's not that, your trip is delayed. It's that you are delaying yourself by not being prepared. So I feel like that's also what Mercury retrograde is going to let you know, like, oh, I still have some stuff to get together before this can really take off. And the last thing is like the Five of Wands upright, going back to what I was saying about giving so much of your energy to other people or wanting that validation from other people. And what could happen is like, or what I hope doesn't happen. don't engage with arguments, don't engage in competition, because there may be other people who are going through similar journeys as you who are also like, well, I have an idea too, and la la la. And if you're so open about yours, and if you're, like I said, shouting at the to the hilltops about it, other people will hear and be like, well, I'm doing this and stuff and that. And it's like, you don't want that competition around you. You don't want that competition around your new idea. So please refrain from that and do not engage in arguments or petty stuff like that. This can also be letting you know that, like, listen, do more listening during Mercury retrograde. If you hear some differing opinions from yours, that's totally fine. And if you are a fire sign, like I feel like some of you are, it might be in your nature to try and correct people, or try to speak over people, or try to make sure you get your point across. I think you will find some valuable information if you just listen during this Mercury retrograde. And you don't always have to agree with what you're listening to, but it can tell you something. It can tell you something about the person who you're talking to. It can tell you about the environment that you're in. And it can tell you about even just where the world is at, right? From that person's perspective. And that will somehow come in handy later. And I don't know how yet, but I just really feel like you guys will benefit from listening first, and then discerning and all of that later. But just really just trying to be like, okay, I get it, this person is different from me, but I'm a student of life. What can they teach me, right? Because there's no shame in that ever. Understanding that we all have something to learn is like the best possible position you can put for yourself, especially when you're coming at it from like a new idea. Okay. And the so the advice cards that you have for this Mercury retrograde are intention and solitude. So with this intention card, I feel like this is telling you, like, these delays that you feel, these blocks that you feel, these creative blocks that you feel, you will get rid of them by setting an intention, a clear intention. Like I said, this Mercury retrograde isn't here to piss you off. It's here to direct your sails. It's getting you to really set your sight on something. You have the enthusiasm, you have all of this, energy. But if you're just a ball of light burning, then where is it going, right? You need to direct that light somewhere. So the card says, intention is simply allowing the will and the mind to align and move in harmony. May I always focus on the highest. My intention is that all God's wishes for me come true. Yeah, so really just set an intention. What is it even that you intend to do with this? Why, right? Find your why. And then the how will just come. And the next card, Solitude, says, once you embrace the inner divine and your own sacred solitude, the right people arrive at the right time, exactly on schedule, without forcing or chasing. Exactly. You don't have to go force anybody to care about your idea. You don't have to force anybody to help you out, or to, brainstorm with you, or any of that. Like, you don't have to force it. The universe will send you those people, okay? So you don't have to get mad at anybody either because they're not reacting in the way that you want them to, because it's all right. You're going to be good anyway, right? So just really embrace some alone time during this Mercury retrograde, all right? Because you will be able to recharge your batteries. And after this whole foggy time is over, then you'll really be able to hit the ground running, okay? That's all I got for you guys, group number 2. I hope the reading resonated. Let me know in the comments if it did. Like this video, subscribe, all of that good stuff, And I will see you next time. Okay? Thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy with me. I truly appreciate it. The magic in me honors the magic in you. Be well. Bye. Hi, group number 3. Those of you who chose Labradorite. Okay, so I'm not going to lie to you. This is heavy stuff. This is heavy energy, but it's not unfamiliar. And I feel like on the other side of this journey you're going to be going through during Mercury retrograde, you're going to come out with much more clarity. I know you guys are sensitive right now, and I know that, like, you're going to be in a very sensitive place. So I feel like the cards are just giving you a little bit of tough love. Like, okay, like, it's time. It's time to start really acting like a person who loves themselves and making decisions from that place. And that means if you feel like, you're not worthy, or if you feel like, well, I can't just wake up tomorrow and love myself, that's totally valid. But it's also up to you to figure out how, why, and, what you can do to maybe not get to a place of like celebrating who you are, but respecting at least who you are. Because it doesn't look like you've been respecting yourself. And it's causing you to have these like strained interactions with other people. And I feel like you have been in your head so much, and then coming from such an emotional place, and really living in the past as well. And then you encounter people who aren't living in the same reality as you, and then you have like this resentment towards them, and like, I get this feeling, this energy is like, you want to be seen, you want to be heard, and you want to be understood, but you are acting in a way that almost makes it just there. It's like you've got to find some harmony with you first. So, and this could be another person and you, but I feel like for the majority of you, this is about you and your personal journey. And other people may be involved in that, but that they're not, the spotlight in this reading is not on them. So also, that's also like for some of you, excuse me, not all of you, but some of you have an issue with blame and constantly blaming other people and coming at it from a very like, I get it, okay? I get it. You've been through a lot, people have put you through a lot, and it's very easy to villainize people who have hurt us. But it also just places us in a really disempowered position if we're constantly like, they did this to me and that happened to me, and like always putting ourselves in kind of like this victim mode. It's very draining. It's draining on ourselves and our own energy sources, and it's draining on our loved ones around us. So I feel like during this Mercury retrograde, you're kind of going to go on a journey where it's like the final straw, like where you're just like over it. You're over, not knowing when to say when. You're over not setting boundaries with people. You're over letting people walk over you and then blaming them for doing it. Like, all of that stuff. But the first card you've got is the Five of Swords in reverse. So I feel like for some of you, this may be like trying to reconcile with people, or coming to a point where you realize like this is a lose-lose situation. Like, it doesn't matter who's right in this situation. As long as we're fighting, we both lose, right? As long as we're pointing the finger at each other, we're both losing. And sometimes the best and most loving thing you could do in that situation is just be like, you know what, we're not on the same wavelength right now, or maybe we never were. But I'm done trying to get you to be more like me, and I am done with you trying to get me to be more like you, or whatever the case is. It's just kind of like coming to an impasse and like realizing like, what are we even fighting about anymore? And that in itself can be a kind of reconciliation. You don't have to, be with somebody or be friends with somebody or talk to somebody at all to honor and respect them and like bless them on their way. You know what I mean? So I feel like for some of you, you've gotten out of a relationship, or you might be in the midst of a breakup or something like that. And that could be romantic or friendship. It doesn't really matter. I'm not really feeling one way or the other here. I'm just feeling like you were in this position, and like you juxtaposed with whoever else is like, there's tension there and you're really in your head about it. And there's the Ten of Swords reversed here. So that's also letting me know that there's a shift, there's a change that is trying to happen. And you're kind of standing in the way of it a little bit. Like, you've been through some hell, sure, but it's nothing lasts, including pain. And I feel like it's almost like you're like repeating it. Same with the Three of Swords. These two cards are letting me know it's like you keep repeating to yourself all of the things that have happened to you and what people have said and what people have done. And so it's like you're just creating more of that energy and trying to like keep yourself in it by talking about it so much or thinking about it so much. You're like creating your reality in that space. And I'm not talking about manifestation. I just mean like, have you ever like gone on a daydream and it's like you're not here? You're really in like another reality. That's kind of what I mean. You just keep daydreaming or ruminating off of on these things that have happened that have hurt you, and then it's like you're living there when in the present moment everything could be calm and peaceful, but it's like turmoil in your head. So you've got to let time heal, right? I feel like a lot of time has passed, but it's like you're just dragging that stuff from the past into the present in your head, in your mind. And that is also causing conflict with others because they're not in your mind. So they can't see the fact that, like, what they said triggered you because, they're just talking about whatever they're talking about, not thinking about all of this stuff. And we can come from a very, like, self-centered area sometimes where we're just like, well, they should read our minds. And it's like, that's not how it works. Everybody is also going through their own journeys. We are very fortunate when we can find people who are so in tune with us. They know, when we are upset and things like that. But it's like, you also have to be your own comfort sometimes. You've got to have your own back sometimes. So, it's coming to an end. The pain and like all of that confusion and stuff is coming to an end. You are just going to, it would just benefit you so much if you could learn to take some steps in not constantly thinking about that stuff or speaking about that stuff or talking about it with someone who can professionally help you, like in therapy or healers and things like that. And if you're like, well, I'm already in therapy, well, like, I don't know, tell your therapist, like, I'm really having a hard time not thinking about this stuff all the time, but I just really don't feel like it's going to be conducive to, because I feel like you guys take it outside of that area too. Like, it's not like you just go to therapy and you talk about it. You talk about it when you're at work. You talk about it when you're with your friends. It's like, it's this all-consuming thing, you know? And I think that in Mercury retrograde, you're just going to kind of be in this place where you're just like, I'm so tired of this. You've got the Page of Swords here in reverse too. So I feel like, you might get so tired to the point where you just think like, if I do something hasty, that'll fix it. If I, make a rash decision, or if I get a little impulsive, that'll fix it. And that's not going to fix it. So I'm just letting you know that now before you get into that. Do not do that, okay? And the last card you have over here is Eight of Cups in reverse. So there's with this Five of Swords in reverse and this Eight of Cups in reverse, I know that it has to do with relationship or relationships that you are having a hard time letting go of. Even just accepting the fact that it's not working is like hard for you. Just accepting the fact that people can be different and not everyone's going to get along is hard for you, because I feel like some of you just like want things to work out so badly that you're almost like you're not being yourself. Like, this isn't you. This need to control, this need to hold on, this need to almost act in like a very out of character way to get what you want. Like, it's not you. So really just like let it go. You know what I mean? And I feel like some of you, the problem is like you think that if you let go of this friend, you'll never find another friend, or if you let go of this partner, you'll never find another partner. And that's not the case. That just isn't. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. But the people who are for you can't find you if you are like locked and hidden away in all of this. You know what I'm saying? Your advice cards are make it gods and loneliness. So there's a lot of like releasing that has to take place. That's funny. The first word is release. Okay, so it says, release the idea of my. Yeah, nobody belongs to you, right? But you. So mind you, mind yourself, right? Take care of you, focus on you, and not in a way that's like narcissistic. Because I also feel like some of you guys have gotten to the point where you are so entrenched in your own pain, you don't remember the last time you asked someone how they were. Or like, because you're just like going through so much in your own head that that's like all you're thinking about, right? Well, focusing on you means is like, have I eaten today? Have I drank my water? Have I slept enough? Like, really just taking care of yourself, right? But it says, release the idea of my. As soon as you start to say the money, the relationship, the job, freedom arrives. When there is no grasping, the right actions get shown. Free me from the prison of my, dear Lord. So it's like, it's not like my money, it's the money. The money that I need to do X, Y, and Z. It's not my relationship, it's the relationship. I and that person are in this thing together, and that created this thing, this relationship, the relationship. But that isn't, I don't have ownership of that, right? Because I don't have ownership of that person. And same with the job, right? Just like stop identifying so much with things in your life and just realize that they're there to elevate you in some kind of way. And when they stop elevating you, their time is done, right? And yeah, you're like in a prison. Yeah, it's so true. Grasping and trying to hold and unable to see through all of these shrouds, like these trees, they're just like blocking the light, right? But I feel like you're more so like this flower. And so at the end of all of this, you're going to bloom. You just got to give yourself the time to. And the loneliness card. So I know you're scared of feeling alone, and you probably, aren't very comfortable with yourself, and that's probably why you fear loneliness. But I know that you're going to get to a point where you start liking yourself, and then that's going to help you start making better decisions and respecting who you are. But the card says, when you stop fearing your aloneness, you stop settling for less than you deserve. May I embrace and love my solitude. And that's when kindred spirits can finally come. Yeah. So right now you're trying to grasp at straws, trying to get people who really don't vibe with you to love you. Just love me, just love me. And it's like, it's not working that way. And so the thing that is going to free you from that and actually find the people who love you is the thing you're afraid of the most, which is being alone. But that is okay, and that is valid. And like I said, I feel like you guys would benefit greatly from therapy. And if you're already in therapy, maybe go more or see different people, so you can gain different perspectives. But find a way to take care of yourself and get all of these thoughts out, okay? But don't dump it on people who are not professionals, okay? But that's all I got for you guys, group number 3. I really do know that there's a silver lining in all of this, so just hold tight, okay? I hope the reading resonated. Let me know in the comments if it did. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy with me. I truly appreciate it. The magic in me honors the magic in you. Be well.